Bienvenidos a Colombia Antigua. La historia es para compartirla sin egoísmo. Es por eso que cada video tiene el enlace y la información de dónde fue descargado. Esperamos que los videos y la información sean útiles para usted.
South of the Caribbean Sea lie the republics of Colombia and Venezuela and the neighboring Guianas. Bordering these countries are Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil. In Colombia, the Andean mountain system divides into three ranges: the western, the central, and the eastern Cordilleras, the last extending across Venezuela. The Guiana highlands form a low plateau on the east and mark the boundary of the Llanos, or plains, of the Orinoco River system. To the north, the Caribbean lowlands are hot and humid. Colombia lies in the torrid zone, but tropical heat is modified by elevation and winds, and the plateau lands of the interior have a temperate climate. Here dwelt most of the native Indians, whose descendants still labor on the land. The Indians were overcome by Spanish conquest during the 16th century. Columbus explored the Caribbean coast in 1502. Balboa and Pizarro followed, and in 1511 colonies were established at Darien and Colon. Soon the northern coast was colonized. The first of many settlements was Cumana. Indian legends of treasure led explorers to the interior. In 1536, Quesada traveled up the Magdalena River and founded Bogota, the present capital of Colombia. For 3 centuries, Spain governed these states, until Simon Bolivar led the risings that marked the first step towards the foundation of independent republics in the 19th century. The Guianas remained colonies. Racial mingling has been considerable. Population includes mestizos, descendants of Spanish and Indian intermarriage, and Negroes once imported as slaves. The gold that was sought by the Spaniards is today mined in the Andes, particularly in the Cauca and Atrato valleys. Gold ranks third among the national exports. Agriculture provides the main occupation, and coffee is the most valuable crop. Through the harvest season, pickers work from dawn to dusk, stripping the ripe berries from the laden branches. Coffee flourishes throughout the mountains, growing sometimes on small farms, sometimes on large plantations. Work at the drying platforms provides a livelihood for many elements of the mixed population. As an export, coffee is second only to petroleum. Cacao grows in the lower valleys, particularly in the Cauca Valley of Colombia. The tropical valleys below the coffee and the cacao produce sugar cane. And in the same humid areas, banana cultivation has been introduced. Some cotton is grown in these low valleys, as well as tobacco, maize, and other food crops. The narrow wooded valley of the River Magdalena supports a few poor Negro farms. The river itself serves as a highway for valley trade and for the exchange of goods between the interior and the river ports of outlet. In turn, the commerce of these towns is handled by seaports on the Caribbean. So too in Venezuela. Inland towns serve particular seaports. To the south and east of the productive mountain areas lie the Llanos, drained by the Orinoco, and the Guiana highlands. The long wild grasses of the Llanos favor stock raising. Bolivar is the state richest in livestock. Cattlemen drive their herds to the towns where the beasts are sold, some for meat, some for hides for the tanneries. Some are taken by riverboat down the Orinoco for slaughter in the coastal towns. In the lower Llanos, torrential rains and floods are followed by droughts that destroy pasturage. South of the Orinoco, extending as far as the great Amazon basin, the wooded Guiana highlands are the source of fine tropical timbers, including cabinet woods such as mahogany. From the bullet tree comes balata, a gummy substitute for gutta percha. Gold is found in the highlands, as well as iron, bauxite, and diamonds, all of which are received at Ciudad Bolivar, principal port on the Orinoco. The scattered tropical lowlands along the coast yield most of the sugarcane and the cotton, particularly at the mouth of the Magdalena and Cauca rivers. These crops thrive too in the neighboring Guianas. But the great wealth of the lowlands is petroleum, found in abundant deposits in Colombia and Trinidad and around Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela. The thousands of wells along the northern and northwestern coasts give Venezuela third place among the oil-producing nations of the world. The crude oil is pumped through pipelines to loading ports, the greater part of it to be refined in the Dutch West Indies. Thus, this region produces a variety of materials: coffee, cacao, and mixed crops, cattle and hides, forest products, sugar, bananas, and cotton, petroleum and asphalt, gold, platinum, and gems. Products of the interior are received at Bogota, Medellin, and Manizales in Colombia, at Valencia and Caracas in Venezuela. These are trading points, where some of the raw materials are manufactured into articles for local sale. Cotton leaves the mills and factories as cloth and hosiery. The hides are transformed into leather goods. Connection is maintained between these widely separated towns by river highways, by mountain trails, some converted into motor roads, by railways, mostly short lines, and by airways, contributing most of all to the recent development of these two states. By such lines of communication, the inland centers are linked with the coast. Through the seaport cities go out the exports of the region, destined principally for the United States and Europe. Imported in return are machinery, motor cars, foods, textiles, and chemicals for countrywide distribution. Spanish colonial architecture survives in the midst of modern economic growth in the inland cities such as Bogota. In modern Caracas, the Venezuelan capital, the influence of Spanish culture is reflected in education and in art. In the seaports of the Caribbean, an atmosphere reminiscent of the days of the Spanish Main persists. amid all the commerce and business activity of these progressive South American states.